Hello and welcome to Dad Got This, where we're into the tough questions like, how long does it take for a really thick ribeye to come up to internal temp in the Ninja Woodfire when you're reverse searing it? And what does a teenage cowboy say when they throw somebody out of a saloon? That second one's easy. Yeet-ha! A while back, I made a video about cooking a really thick ribeye and reverse searing it on the wood fire. And a ton of you guys asked, well, how long did it take to come up to temp before you switched over and seared? I don't know. Time is just not something that I track. It is not reliable when cooking. It's not really that helpful to me, so I don't think to track it. But apparently a lot of you guys want to know. So today, I'm going to cook another really thick ribeye, and I'll tell you exactly how long it took to get up to temp. Let's grab a steak and start prepping it. I couldn't find the exact same steak that I cooked last time, but this one's pretty similar. It is a really thick bone-in cowboy ribeye. It's like a tomahawk. It's got the big bone on the end. This should do us well. According to this, it's 2.11 pounds. It's nice to know they didn't rip me off. It's 2.16 pounds apparently. First thing we'll do is we'll pat it dry a little bit. And I'm gonna take advantage of this and I'm gonna make something I've never made before and wanted to try, cowboy butter to go with my cowboy steak. But before we do that, let's go ahead and season our steak. We're just gonna hit it with some salt. Some coarse black pepper. A little bit of dad dust. Dad dust is 50% granulated garlic, 50% granulated onion, a splash of MSG. Recipes in the description. Flip that over. This is a big steak, can take some seasoning. And then I'm gonna kind of pick up seasoning here from the tray. And that's a well-seasoned steak. We're gonna go ahead and set this aside, let the salt penetrate and kind of do its job while we prep the wood fire. Grab your pellet hopper and fill it to the top. Give it the dad shake. The dad shake either compacts the pellets and makes it burn better, separates the pellets and gives it lots of air and makes it burn better, or does absolutely nothing and just makes me feel like it burns better. I still do it every time. We're just gonna go ahead and set this thing to the smoker setting. We're gonna put it at 200 degrees Fahrenheit and put the time at like 3 hours, doesn't matter. Now, why don't I like giving out times and things like that for recipes? There are a lot of factors that could affect the time. The temperature of the air outside, the humidity, the temperature of your steak, how heavy your steak is, how thick your steak is, how much fat is in your steak, how thick the bone is. There are all kinds of things that will affect the time of the cook. And then the biggest thing to me is your cooker could be calibrated differently than mine. What mine says is 200 might not be 200 on yours. There could be a wild variation between the two. Add all that up, and if I tell you to cook a steak for 15 minutes and then sear it, you might end up with a dead raw steak or well done. I don't know. But if I tell you to cook it to 120 degrees Fahrenheit internal and then sear it, you're gonna get the exact same result that I got, no matter all of those differences in the steak, the cooker, the time, the temperature, everything. There's really no user error available when you cook by temp. So if you don't happen to have one of the units that has a built-in thermometer, at least get one of these. This is the Thermapen 1. There are cheaper options out there, but is what's called an instant read thermometer. You open it, stick it in your food, and it instantly tells you the temperature. You don't have to wait for it right away. Just using that and checking your food intervally will make your food come out way better. Cooking your food to the right temp is more important than seasoning, recipes, anything. Now, if you want to do more advanced things and just be able to monitor it through your phone or an app, go ahead and buy a third-party wireless thermometer. There are lots out there. I have tested lots. I'll throw a couple of links down to some of the ones that I like down in the description. Grab one of those and you can do the exact same things I'm doing in the recipe here by just following it on your phone. Doesn't matter that it's not the Ninja probe. Temperature is what matters. So please, if you take one tip from me, it is to cook to temp, not to time. But for everyone's sake, I will tell you times today. While our steak is resting and our smoker's coming up to temp, Let's make some cowboy butter. First things first, get about a half of a shallot. I happen to have one left over from a previous recipe. And you really want to dice it nice and fine. After our initial dice, we are going to then go through and give it an additional chop. I want this guy like tiny. I think, in my opinion, big chunks of shallot would not be tasty, especially raw like this. I say take the time, really mince the heck out of it. Half a shallot. I got a jalapeno. My family doesn't like things very spicy, but they can take a jalapeno. So I'm gonna remove the seeds and the white part. That's where all the spice really is. Same thing, really fine. Jalapeno. We need some parsley, and we want it really finely chopped again, just like everything else, finely chopped. You want about 2 tablespoons of this. Easiest way to do it is just ball it up as best as you can. If you get a couple of stems in there, not a big deal. About that much. At this point, we are done with chopping. I'm going to use a garlic press because it's just so much easier. Put about, there's 3 in that one. It's about 8 medium cloves of garlic. It's cowboy butter, so we need butter. This is 8 tablespoons, 1 stick of butter, softened but not fully melted. Just kind of hit it 5 seconds at a time in your microwave until it gets nice and soft. 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, Worcestershire, however you want to call it. 2 teaspoons of lemon juice. 1 teaspoon of Dijon mustard. This is Grey Poupon. 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika. And 1/2 teaspoon of salt and 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. You can add more to your taste once we get this thing done. I also used unsalted butter. But as always, the full recipe will be down in the description with a link to my website, dadgotthis.com. We're gonna mix this really well. I lied, we need thyme. About a 1/2 teaspoon of really nicely diced thyme leaves. Now these, you wanna kinda pull the stems off if you can. We really just kinda want the leaves as much as possible. This is so fiddly, I hate it. The really thin stems you could probably get away with. That's probably fine. Not even sure you'll taste this much in there. But all the cowboy butter recipes I found, they all use thyme. Thyme. We're gonna let this go sit at room temp. To give you guys as much information on this steak as possible, this steak is 2 inches thick, currently 48 degrees Fahrenheit before it goes in the smoker, and I'm gonna smoke it on this elevated rack. We're gonna take our probe, kinda in the middle, making sure we're not touching the bone. That's good. Off to the smoker. I have the Woodfire Pro XL, so I'm gonna use the Ninja Pro Connect app. We're gonna go add a thermometer. We want beef rare, which is 120. We're gonna make sure our grill did not change its temperature, because in the past, see, it has gone to cold. That is not what we want. We want 200 degrees Fahrenheit. That's some sort of glitch in the Ninja. And I'm going to start a timer right now, and I will let you know exactly how long it takes to hit 120 degrees Fahrenheit. One hour, 2 minutes, 3.94 seconds is exactly how long it took for this steak to hit 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, I did have to make one change during the cooking process. I forgot that when you pick the standard, like medium rare steak, it stops at 10 degrees below your cooking temp to allow for carryover cooking. So it stopped it at 110. I quickly just reset the grill, set it to manual 120, and let it keep going. Don't think it really affected anything, but this is what your steak looks like after it's been in the smoke for a little over an hour. We're gonna go ahead and pull off our probe. We don't need this anymore. And then we're gonna go ahead and set the wood fire to grill, high, and hit start. Now, if it doesn't preheat, you're gonna wanna go ahead and unplug your wood fire, plug it back in, and then do it. You want it to be able to go through the preheat setup so that we know that that grill is smoking hot. We're gonna sear this off in some beef tallow once that grill is ready. We'll find out what temp it gets to also. So this guy's just gonna hang out here for a little bit till it's ready to sear. It's been 13 minutes since I set that to preheat. Let's go ahead and sear this steak. After the unit preheated, I hit 521 Fahrenheit on this sucker. That's great. Threw down some beef tallow and stuck the steak on. I dropped these weights on it. I used a rack and an extra grate that I had just to kind of get some extra weight on it. You really want good surface contact with your meat when searing to get a good sear. I let it go on 2 minutes for this side. Pulled the weights off and take a look at how great the crust looks on this steak. It is absolutely golden brown, nice even browning all over. And I made sure I flipped it to a new spot on the grill. That way I maintain heat. Put the weights back on and let it go for another 2 minutes. After that, I pulled off the weights and it's time to sear the sides. Just kind of keep rolling the steak around, moving it around. It took about a minute and 7 seconds to get a nice crust all the way around. I don't think I've seen a better crust on a steak, period. That is perfectly golden brown. A little bit of crisp to it. We are at 129 Fahrenheit right now. We'll let that rest a little bit. It'll probably come up to about 134. Perfect medium rare. Beautiful. Okay. Let's go ahead and cut this off the bone. I don't think I've made a prettier steak in my life. We're gonna take one from the middle here. Drench it in some of this cowboy butter. Amazing. Probably the best steak I've ever cooked on the wood fire. Time, technique, smokiness. The cowboy butter is amazing. I really like that cowboy butter. Let me try a piece without any cowboy butter on it. This is just the steak. Even without the cowboy butter, it is a fantastic steak. 11 out of 10, just amazing. The cowboy butter takes it to like 20. Ridiculous. I can't believe how good this steak is. Let's go over the particulars. So here's a chart of exactly what I did. If you'd like the recipe for this, times, temps, everything, cowboy butter, 100%, as accurate as you can be. That's gonna be linked in the description, and it's gonna be on dadgotthis.com. Please, if you are enjoying this content, do the likey, subscribe stuff. YouTube loves it when you leave a like. I love it when you leave a comment. I answer just about every comment on my comment section. If you really wanna support the channel, consider becoming a member. You'll get behind the scenes updates, shout outs, producer credits, all kinds of fun stuff. But if you can't, please just subscribe. It would really help me out. Will this affect me and make me cook by time? No. Will I try to do a better job and remember the times so that you guys can know, this will take about an hour versus it's a 10-minute cook? Yeah, I will try to be better at that. It's just not ingrained in my brain, so I gotta find a way to make that happen. With all of that out of the way, there's only one question left to answer. Why do cowboys always ride horses? Because they're way too heavy to carry. Yeah, Dad may tell horrible dad jokes, cook amazing steaks, but one thing Dad will never do is an outro. So that's it. Bye. This is the part where I thank all of my members. You guys are the absolute best. Thank you so much for your support, and rock on. I don't know why I said rock on, but rock on.